What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review of a movie that is called WINTERBEAST. It's part of the Homegrown Horrors Volume 1 set put out by Vinegar Syndrome, and I got to check out this puppy. So, WINTERBEAST, like I said, is part of that set, the Homegrown Horrors Volume 1, and Vinegar Syndrome sent me out one of the 3 movies that belong in that set. They also have Fatal Exam and Beyond Dream's Door, which, after watching this movie, I'm super excited to get that. I think I'm going to pick that up at some point in time here soon. They do have their halfway to Black Friday sale coming up here this weekend on the 28th of May, so just in a couple of days. So you definitely don't want to miss out on maybe picking this up for yourself. I'm going to do a little bit of a review of this movie and tell you what my thoughts are on it. When they say homegrown, this is definitely homegrown. This is a movie that took 5 years to make. It was shot on 8mm and 16mm, and they cobbled it together over the course of about 5 years. But they basically had long hair, short hair, in many different scenes. People look completely different than the other scenes. This is a movie that is about, supposedly, about a winter beast. But it all takes place in the summer for the most part. So that's a kind of an odd dynamic, and also why I kind of love this film. But the gist of the story is that there's this mountain lodge town that is really a popular place to stay at, that a lot of people come to vacation and enjoy the wilderness. And in the forest of the lodge, there is an old, ancient Native American curse, demonic curse, that is running amok on the town and killing everybody off in some of the most ridiculous and fun ways. This movie, of course, was directed by Christopher Tice, who has never done anything else other than this movie, and this is his pride and joy. With us, he passed away in 2015. It was produced by Mark Frizzell, who's also an animator. He does like claymation. So you're going to see a lot of that in this film. There's a lot of like monsters and claymation kills and stuff, which kind of add to the charm of this movie, really. It really does. Most of the cast that are in this movie, you got Tim R. Morgan, Mike Magri, and Charles Magka. Pretty much never acted ever again, and they were pretty much picked up locally just to make a movie. Now, technically, this movie came out in 1992, but it feels very, very firmly placed in the 80s. With obviously sort of like a time capsule feel to it, feeling like it comes from, the Harryhausen sort of days. But this is a smaller, independent, really homemade, homegrown, like they say, horror that I think is a hell of a fun watch. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but those people who like the so bad it's good sort of films, people who admire people for just going all out, like overly ambitious stories that big films couldn't even afford to pay for, but somehow this tiny little budgeted film that's homegrown in Massachusetts is making it happen, and they just do whatever they gotta do to make it happen. This is chock full of fucking creatures, crazy dialogue, crazy characters. Some of the stuff that happens in this film is ridiculous. And I'm just going to tell you this small scene that really will not ruin anything for you. One of the characters in this movie is sort of like a part store owner where he sells sort of like Native American trinkets, but he also on the side is some sort of like Indiana Jones sort of guy with a Massachusetts accent. He collects like all these like different native artifacts, teams up with these one ranger to go out and seek what is happening in this town, and they find this totem pole that has really fucked up shit on it. Like, it's a totem pole with like 6 arms. I think it's like 6 arms, and it's got like skeletons all over it and shit. And somehow this is like disturbing the town, this demonic curse that's happening. But anyway, the character who is in the shop does so many different types of roles and so many different funny things. He actually has this scene where he invites the ranger over and one of his workers over, and he's like, "Hey, I got this box I got. This is just a box of things that I share with guests that come over, fun trinkets that I can share with guests." And he opens it up, and I kid you not, there is probably a fucking penis like a dildo or something, or a fake penis or something in there. But instead of them addressing the fake penis in the room, so to speak, or in the box in this particular occasion, they reach underneath it to pull out this tooth on a fucking Native American necklace. And I just lost it. I started cracking up. I just couldn't believe. I'm like, these guys are taking the piss out of me, right? Like, they're fucking with me right now. I mean, I'm sure, because this is just a fun project that they really wanted to get off the ground. I don't think they were ever expecting it to get any kind of distribution or anything, but this is a movie that somehow got some cult following and it became quite popular. A lot of people adapted it into their libraries and watch it with as much admiration as they probably had making the film. We're not talking like a movie that is congruent, like it feels choppy. Like, literally one scene will be the same actor, but he'll have longer hair. And it's like they just wanted to make sure that it works, and it still does. Like, your mind figures it out. Like, Simon Barrett, who does like an extra on this, who is the writer of, you know, You're Next and The Guest. He even wrote The Blair Witch. He's worked with Adam Wingard. He has a really awesome segment that's on this that I really loved. It's so weird because I just watched Simon Barrett's movie that he directed and wrote, which is called Seance, like the other day, and I'm going to be doing a review on that, by the way, for you guys. And I feel like Simon Barrett is haunting me, because earlier that day, I'd forgotten he'd written Blair Witch, and then I went to go see Seance, where Simon Barrett was actually there and did a Q&A with us, and I'm like, God, I can't even get away. I literally pop on this WINTERBEAST movie, and here he is in the extras. Like, what's going on, Simon? That's a really great segment in here. You get a lot of extra stuff in here that I really like. They have, like, the original sort of making of documentary when they put out the DVD. They got the original work print that's never been released. You know, technically, this whole thing is a work print. It's a rough draft, but they've, like, you know, Vinegar Syndrome's done the work on this and added just a fuck ton of features. Like, all the different actors that were in the movie, they have like sort of interviews with them. Unfortunately, you know, it of course does not have a newer updated thing with Christopher Ties because he passed away in 2015, like I mentioned. But we do have some sort of archival commentary track with Christopher Ties, Mark Frizzell, and the cinematographer Craig Matheson. And you also get a brand new updated version of Mark Frizzell's commentary track on this as well. So this is like, there's so much. You even have some of the deleted scenes that are really funny to watch. You could tell that this movie had like a lot of different ideas and they just threw it all into one movie. I kind of love it for that. Like, man, I was just really enjoying this film. Like, there is just so much that they tried to achieve in this movie and that they did achieve. Whether it's up to your standards or not, whether the claymation looks like the fucking people that it's killing in the movie. I mean, you've got monsters galore in this thing. As schlocky as they may be, you've got claymation creatures of like a tree monster, a turkey monster, a horned WINTERBEAST monster. You've got like a mummy that looks like a zombie. Just a ton of different things in this movie, like an alien. Like, there's just, like, that's actually the alien on the front here that's ripping off the head. That's actually designed by the Dude Designs that did the cover for this, which, speaking of which, you can also have the flip cover, which is the original WINTERBEAST here, if you can kind of see it without the glare. So if you ever want to put it on there and you are fond of the original cover work. But I gotta say, this is actually up there pretty high on my So Bad It's Good scale, my S-Big scale, which I would say this is probably like a 7 out of 10 for the So Bad It's Good film. I love that they just went for it. Like, I just absolutely adore that, even though they had nowhere near the amount of money that they would need to make a movie like this actually work, they did it anyway. And there's just something passionate, endearing, and just awesome about that. There's even a freaking murderer that's in this movie that has like a really weird sort of pantomiming to an old song from like the 30s or something like that. It's just weird. Like, this movie has it all. It really does. The first minute of the movie is literally some guy sitting in a chair, and the ranger comes up to him and he's like, "Hey, are you all right?" And then this weird creature's like, it looks cool though. It's claymation. And then the guy just starts ripping out his guts. Like, I was like, okay, this works for me. Have you guys seen this yet? Did you guys get to pick up the other set? And are the other movies in the set actually pretty good? Because I would like to check out Fatal Exam, and I would like to check out Beyond Dream's Door if they're anywhere in the same class as this, because this was just a treat for me. I was not expecting this to be as good as it was. Most people would say this is a garbage movie, but for me, I really enjoyed it. So thank you, Vinegar Syndrome, for sending this out to me to do a review. I really greatly appreciate that you guys send these out to me, because I really like to support underground cinema, and especially Vinegar Syndrome, who has been working at trying to restore films that have, you know, pretty much been just left for dead. And I admire them for it. So not just saying that because they give me free stuff. I just really appreciate what they do for film. So if you're a collector like me, they do the treatment. They usually give you, you know, the cases and stuff like that. But this came in the set. I'll put the picture up for you now. They are going to be doing their halfway to Black Friday sale, which will have like 50% off on a lot of their titles. Plus, they got some secret new titles if you want to check them out. That'll be on May 28th. Right now, you can't even order anything right now because they got the website ready for that. So check that out. Let me know what you think of WINTERBEAST and if you got the set. But other than that, thank you guys so much for coming by and spending your time with me. And as always, long live the void.